My daughter Clara is 9 years old. She has straight, dark blonde hair that she wears loose most days, with one small clip on the left side that she has worn every single day for 2 years because she found it on the ground outside a library and decided it was lucky. She has brown eyes that are very steady when she looks at you, the kind of eyes that make you feel like she already knows what you are going to say before you say it. She is precise about things. She makes lists. She keeps her pencils in color order. She is the kind of child who, when she decides she wants something, does not talk about it constantly or ask for it repeatedly. She simply makes a plan and executes the plan quietly and thoroughly until the thing is done. I have watched her operate this way since she was 6 years old, and I have never stopped being slightly in awe of it. 8 months ago, she decided she wanted a camera. Not a toy camera, a real one. Small, secondhand, the kind that takes actual film. She had seen one at a flea market we went to in April and stood in front of it for a long time without touching it, just looking at it. The way she looks at things she is serious about. The vendor told her it was $45. She looked at the price tag. Then she looked at me. I did not offer to buy it. I waited to see what she would do. She asked the vendor if he would hold it for a week. He laughed and said no. She thanked him politely, and we walked away. That evening she found a tin box in the craft drawer, rectangular, red, with a small sliding lock, and put it on her desk. She did not announce what it was for. She did not ask me for money to start it. She just put the box there, and the next morning I saw she had written "Camera Fund" on a piece of tape on the lid in careful block letters and pressed it down flat. Over the following months, she saved everything. Her birthday came in May. She got $30 from my parents, $20 from her aunt, a $10 from her school friend's mom. She thanked everyone and put it all in the box. She did odd jobs around the house for her father, watering plants, sorting recycling, reorganizing the garage shelf, and negotiated a fair rate for each one before she started, which her father found both impressive and slightly unnerving. She found $2 on the sidewalk in June and came home holding it like evidence. Every coin went in the box. She kept a handwritten running total on a piece of notebook paper folded inside the lid. By late November, she had $63, more than enough for the camera, with money left over for film. She told me one evening at dinner, not excitedly, just as an update, "I have $63. I'm going to look for the camera on Saturday." I said okay. She nodded and went back to eating. The Thursday before that Saturday, we went to my mother's house for an early holiday dinner. My mother, Clara's grandmother, who we call Nana, lives 40 minutes away and hosts these dinners a few times a year with the whole extended family. Clara's cousin Dylan was there. Dylan is 11, loud in a good-natured way, and has always been my mother's undisguised favorite. This is not a secret in our family. It is simply a fact that everyone has absorbed and arranged themselves around over the years. Clara brought her tin box with her because she always brought it with her when we went anywhere. Not to show anyone, just because she didn't like leaving it home. She kept it in her coat pocket. We ate dinner. The kids watched a movie in the back room while the adults cleaned up. I was in the kitchen with my mother and sister when Clara appeared in the doorway. She was wearing her coat. The tin box was in her hand, open, and it was empty. She looked at me. Her face was completely still. "It's gone," she said. I put down the dish I was holding. "What do you mean it's gone?" "My money. It's gone." She showed me the inside of the box. The folded paper with her running total was still in there. The money was not. My mother turned from the sink. She had a particular expression on her face, the expression she gets when she already knows something and is deciding how to handle having been caught. It came out in pieces over the next 10 minutes. Dylan had wanted to order a video game online that night, a specific one, limited availability. He'd been talking about it for weeks. He had mentioned to my mother that he was short on cash. My mother had found Clara's box in her coat pocket, taken the $63, given it to Dylan, and planned to, in her words, sort it out later. She said this as if it were reasonable, as if sort it out later was a plan, as if she had borrowed a cup of flour. Clara stood in the kitchen doorway the entire time this was being explained. She did not cry. She did not interrupt. She did not say a word. When my mother finished speaking and looked at her with an expression that was somehow both guilty and slightly defensive, Clara turned around, walked to the front door, took her coat off the hook, put it on, and went out to wait by the car. I looked at my mother for a long moment. Then I followed my daughter. She was standing by the passenger door with her hands in her pockets and the empty tin box under her arm. When I got there, she looked up at me and said, "Can we go home now?" We drove home in silence. Not angry silence, something quieter than anger, more settled. Clara looked out the window the whole way. When we pulled into our driveway, she got out, went inside, put the tin box back on her desk, and came to find me in the kitchen. "Is she going to give it back?" she asked. I said I was going to make sure of it. She nodded. "Okay." Then she went to her room. I called my mother that night after Clara was asleep. I kept the call very short. I told her that $63 would be returned to Clara by the end of the week, in cash, directly to Clara's hand, with my mother present, so Clara could see where it came from. I told her that if that did not happen, I would not be bringing Clara to family dinners for the remainder of the year. I did not discuss it further. I did not ask her how she was feeling about it. I did not give her space to explain or justify. I said what was going to happen, and I ended the call. My sister called me the next morning to tell me I was being dramatic. I told her that her opinion on the subject was noted and moved on. My mother called 2 days later to say Dylan would be returning the money. I said that was between Dylan and his parents. I said the money needed to come from my mother directly, to Clara, as I had described. There was a long pause. Then she said fine. On Sunday, my mother came to our house. Clara was at the kitchen table doing a puzzle. My mother stood in the doorway for a moment, then came in and put $63 on the table next to the puzzle pieces. She said she was sorry. She said it stiffly, in the way people apologize when they are mostly sorry they were caught, but she said it. Clara looked at the money. Then she looked at my mother. Then she picked up the bills, counted them carefully, all the way through, every single one, folded them, and put them in her coat pocket. "Thank you, Nana," she said. Then she went back to her puzzle. My mother left shortly after. I walked her to the door. She said, "She's very serious for her age." I said yes, she is. The following Saturday, Clara bought the camera, not at the flea market. She'd found a secondhand one online for $38, better condition, with a half-used roll of film already inside. She came home with it and sat at the kitchen table and figured out how it worked from the instruction manual she found online, printed and annotated in pencil. Then she went out to the backyard and used the remaining film on the old roll, photographing things she found interesting. A crack in the fence, a dead leaf, my coffee cup on the porch railing. When the roll came back from the developer 2 weeks later, she spread the photos on the table and looked at each one for a long time. Then she selected 3 and put them in a small frame she had bought at the same time as the developer fee. She hung the frame on her wall with 3 pieces of tape, very level, measured with a ruler. She has not mentioned Nana or the money since. She does not hold things visibly. She processes them somewhere quiet inside herself and comes out the other side of them, having already decided how she feels and what she is going to do. I have watched her do this her whole life. At Christmas, Nana sent a card. Inside was a $20 bill. Clara read the card, put the 20 in the tin box, and wrote a thank you note in her careful block letters. She did not perform warmth she didn't feel. She was not rude. She was precise and fair and exactly herself. I think about that tin box sometimes, the tape with camera fund on the lid, 8 months of tooth fairy dollars and sidewalk coins and negotiated chores, $63 that somebody decided they had the right to take because it was convenient and she was a child, and children's things are easy to dismiss. She is not easy to dismiss. She never has been. And I am going to make sure that everyone in her life understands that, one conversation at a time, for as long as it takes. Did I go too far or not far enough? Tell me in the comments. And if this story stayed with you, hit that like button and subscribe. Drop your location below. USA, UK, Canada, Australia. I read every single one.